Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls TV. I am your host Mike B, and here we are. I'm doing this thing. So what is going on? Well, let's have a look at the news. Some board game news. So Riot Games have just, last couple of days put an announcement out. So Riot Games, we may know as Mechs vs. Minions is what they're kind of League of Legends and that sort of stuff. I mean, they're known for. They did the Mechs vs. Minions board game over there somewhere. It was a pretty fantastic board game. It's a cooperative game of you programming robots and doing stuff. Beautiful, luscious design, box insert that actually really worked really well. Everything about it, considering their video game company and that was their first foray into board games, they kind of knocked it out the park. Did a pretty cracking job, and all things considered, a fairly reasonable price for that. And if you've never checked it out, Mechs vs. Minions is a very really cool little co-op-y game. Some really great miniatures and stuff in there, and solid, just everything about it. Really good, high level production design. Really, as I say, knocked out the park. Kind of left some board game publishers looking a bit sad in comparison. So anyway, they have recently announced they are now set up their own board game division. So Riot Games will be producing a bunch of games. First out the gate is a game whose name now escapes me, but it's essentially going to be a hidden traitory sort of hidden identity game, smaller scale to what they did with Mechs vs. Minions, but the same level of production design and ease to play and all that sort of stuff. So that is very fascinating. Really was blown away by Mechs vs. Minions when it first came out, which is now a couple of years ago, I think. And it did take a lot of the industry by storm. So the idea of them doing more is something that I find very fascinating and interesting to see what they do, because they're coming at it from a fresh angle almost, and it could be quite cool. So we wait to see what that is. That sounds very cool. What else is going on? So for me, in the coming week, I will be going off to Toy Fair this week in London, the old Londinium. So Toy Fair's on. We shall see. There's not a massive amount of board game manufacturers there. I know Asmodee will be in residence, as are Ravensburger, and probably a few others. I think Alley Cat will be there as well. So we're going down to go and see what's going on there, maybe get some hints and tips, or see some of the stuff that's coming out later in the year. Who knows? We'll see what I can get my hands on. So we'll have a look around. So that's what I'll be doing, and I will report back from said Toy Fair when I get back. So that's that. Kickstarter. Let's have a quick stop off of Kickstarter. So there's some exciting Kickstarter going on at the moment. Return to the Dark Tower launched a couple of days ago and is already topped over the $2 million mark, which is insane, really, when you think about it. Dark Tower, if you don't know, was 1980s. I think 1981 came out. It was a board game which had a large dark tower in the middle of the game, which at the time used like a squawk box and was like a computer-generated thing. It did. It had a brain. Now, obviously, rudimentary at the time. I mean, we're talking 80s.
Tonight, I journeyed backwards in time to the medieval world of Dark Tower. In this amazing game, I had to find 3 keys, lay siege to the tower, and defeat the enemy within. Each move was a challenge. The computer kept track, giving me secret information, pictures, sounds, surprises. Then, ahead of my opponent, I made my move. The battle was joined, and I was victorious. Dark Tower, from ambient,
but was a cult classic, and has endured and talked about in sort of hush circles and been one of those classics that everyone returns to. So yes, Return to Dark Tower. Rob Daviau and Isaac Childress from Gloomhaven and Risk Legacy and Pandemic Legacy and such have combined with Restoration Games to create the most latest version of it. It kind of looks very cool. It isn't cheap. But this tower in this version is pretty funky. There's a fair bit of tech kit into this thing. It's a cooperative game. If you try and beat the Dark Tower, essentially, get some definite Lord of the Rings vibes. I must admit, I am a little bit drawn to it. It does look very cool. But as I say, it's not cheap, but maybe worth a look. Slightly cheaper on the spectrum. There's something else which has done quite well as well. Is Oath from Leader Games. The guys that did Root. So Oath, if you look at it, it's fascinating. The idea is essentially you are playing in generations of an empire. It's not a legacy. However, every time you finish a game, you carry over where you got to in the previous game. So whatever happened in there can have lasting effects to the game you're playing overall. That's kind of in a nutshell. It looks gorgeous, beautiful art and design on there, like the Root did have, and yes, very cool looking. The two that definitely piqued my interest on Kickstarter the last few days. However, I'm sure more exciting stuff are coming. Definitely launching in February is going to be Tidblocks and Kitten, which I'll be reviewing next week, which is the two games from Alley Cat Games, little pocket money stuff. I think you can get both of them together for about $12, but I will check that. I had an email the other day about it. But when I do the review, I will cover all of that. Other than that, coming up, well, we were playing Firefly the other day. Look at Firefly, isn't it lovely? We played Firefly with all the expansions, if you can just see a bit of it. We had an incident with a can of Dr. Pepper that sprayed everywhere. Thank gosh I had the vinyl mat. That would have saved us an incident of sticky carbonated hellhole. So that was it. That's what we played this week. And I haven't really got the games the last few nights because I've been working. But I have the week off, so I'm hoping to get some gameage done. Most excitingly, this turned up. Wow, so this is the long-awaited final appearance of, I believe, the Blood Rage Digital Edition extras. So, if you want to know, this was a Kickstarter last year, maybe the year before. It seems to have taken forever to get here. Cool Mini and Infinite Wisdom decided to do a Kickstarter to reprint the long-lost Kickstarter extras from the original Blood Rage. Now, I didn't back Blood Rage originally on Kickstarter. Stupidly, I nearly did. Ummed and ahed about it, and I didn't commit, and I feel bad for it. When the opportunity arose, couldn't resist. So I went for that. So here we have the Blood Rage extras. Digital versions not to be seen. So there was also the option of getting the 3D clan tokens, because I had the old cardboard ones. So yes, this is pretty much all the original Kickstarter exclusive monsters. The gods in a new shiny mode, and a few odds and sods. So let's have a look. I quite like this box. This is quite a nice box. It's a shame it's so narrow, because I don't think I could fit Blood Rage in there, sadly. But this is the first one I actually look at and I go, that's a pretty cool, funky box. So what we've got in here, we've got the Gods of Asgard, which is the one I already have. We've got the Stag Clan, which is a new clan for a 5th player, if you've not already got the other ones. Came with both the original cardboard there and thicker cardboards that they did as part of the campaign, which I didn't actually take up. I would have jumped over this had they been the inset boards, but yeah, I don't know. So there was that. And we've got stuff and nonsense. Oh my god, that's a good noise, isn't it? So yeah, Gods of Asgard, if you've not already got that. So they've done plastic tokens there. These were cardboard in the original version. The other cool things we've got is these pillage tokens. So when an area is now pillaged, you can obviously place this over the top of there to show it's no longer active. They're kind of cool. A set of them. There was the Saga tokens in there, so these just replace the original ones we had in there. The Quest, the Saga tokens and all that. There's the rest of the clan for the Stag Clan bits and pieces in there. A very large golden thing. I can't remember what that's for. Lovely. And then we had Stag Clan, but we had these new monsters, which are kind of cool. Some of them are, anyway. I'm not too sure about the Giantess. Looks a little bit like Abraham Lincoln with boobs, but it's quite cool and big. There's a giant boar, and so some of these were added, and there's the big wolf, which is kind of cool. The Golden Gods, giant-sized gods with a Betty spear. I'm not sure about the giant-sized gods. It's kind of insane. That's a very big naked man. He's pretty cool. He was added an additional one. God, that's heavy. The worm. I can't remember his name now. Jort Younger, I don't remember. Anyway, so yes, there was that. So that's all of that. I'll maybe take some close-up shots of this. So that's finally arrived. The digital edition version of that is still not been sighted. At some point, maybe it will turn up. Who knows? That's been indefinitely lost to time and space at the moment. We shall have to wait and see. But there you go. So that is that's us really for the minute. That's that finally arrived and some other stuff. Yes, thank you for tuning in. So I will be back next week with some more goodies and some reports from Toy Fair. Until then, have an enjoyable weekend of gaming. I intend to do. I think Blood Rage is most certainly going to get played this weekend. And also I think we'll be taking a look at Clank Legacy as well, which is something I'm very excited about. And whatever else comes across our way. Cool, I've been Mike B. This has been Who Dares Rolls TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. There's our Patreon. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yes, all that stuff. Don't forget to pop to the Who Dares Rolls website to see all your goodness on there. And we've recorded a podcast episode the other night, so I need to edit that, but there will be a podcast episode dropping hopefully next week. Huzzah! Episode 59, I think it is, or 58. So that's kind of cool. So that's coming out as well. Lovely. Until then, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch up soon. Ta-ta!